Quebecers must remain united.
Quebec's vax tax is officially axed.
It's been 2 horrible fishing years. And, really, they should have had this money before Christmas.
Northern BC fishers say new EI rules are hurting their families. Good evening. Welcome to APTN National News. I'm Melissa Ridgen. Several Algonquin First Nations say they were not consulted on ceremonies performed at the truckers' convoy. Ottawa is on unceded Algonquin territory, of course. They issued a statement today denouncing some of what took place. These ceremonies captured and widely shared on social media. They say their permission was neither sought nor granted for such ceremonies. The Algonquin's joint statement said, quote, "The actions that are taking place on our territory are unacceptable. The Algonquin Nation does not support the setup of a teepee, the pipe ceremony, and sacred fire in Confederation Park in support of the, quote, freedom convoy." We will have more on some of those questionable ceremonies that have been making the rounds on social media tomorrow. While still in Ottawa, Erin O'Toole's brief stint as leader of the Conservative Party of Canada has come to an end. His MPs voted today to oust him. It was just 18 months ago that Conservative Party members selected Erin O'Toole to head their party, but today his caucus voted 73-45 to dump him. O'Toole has been under fire since last fall's election when Conservatives failed to unseat Justin Trudeau and the Liberals. Detractors accused the Ontario MP of flip-flopping on some key issues, such as carbon taxation, balanced budgets, and assault-style firearms. The interim leader will be named soon, while a permanent one might not be in place until the fall. Quebec's controversial vax tax is officially axed. Premier François Legault is walking back his decision to tax the province's unvaccinated. The announcement came down Monday afternoon, right after the National Assembly resumed sittings. Legault told reporters he would not table the bill as planned. He says the health contribution fee was too polarizing, but maintains the decision has nothing to do with appeasing anti-government protesters who are expected to hit Quebec City this coming weekend.
My role is to try to bring Quebecers together to stay united as a people. This is why we won't go ahead with the health contribution. I understand that this divides Quebecers, and right now we need to build bridges to listen to each other. Quebecers must remain united.
We want to hear what you think about Quebec axing the vax tax. Here's how you can share your thoughts. Send your emails to news@aptn.ca. You can leave a comment on aptnnews.ca. You can also find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. Follow APTN News to join the conversation and see all of our latest stories. In British Columbia, concerns are being raised over the denial of employment insurance benefits to fishermen. Families are struggling from the pandemic and are calling on the federal government to find a solution, and they've got others supporting that. APTN's Lee Wilson reports.
In Prince Rupert, a city located on the north coast of British Columbia, Paul Legace, a legal advocate for the Unemployment Action Centre, says they're being overwhelmed by calls from concerned fishers from all around the province. Legace says in 2020, the federal government made a temporary change. Because of the pandemic and fishing closures, fishers did not make enough to qualify for EI. The change allowed them to use their earnings from 3 previous years to qualify, instead of the most recent year. That year, their office successfully helped fishermen get EI benefits. But this season, many fisheries are still closed. 100 fishers applied for EI under the same 3-year qualification and were denied employment service benefits. Legace says this is devastating for lifelong fishermen.
It's been 2 horrible fishing years. And, really, they should have had this money before Christmas. And here we are now, beginning in February. And people are a mess. And this is the applications I see. It's not like, we have other jobs and we kind of do this on the side. These are lifelong fishermen. That's how they make their income.
According to the Canadian Independent Fish Harvesters Federation, the denial of EI is affecting 500 local fish harvesters and more nationally. Legace says he was in touch with Skeena Bulkley Valley NDP MP Taylor Bachrach. Last week, Bachrach wrote a letter to the federal employment minister expressing his concerns. These fishermen applied in good faith based on widespread understanding of the modified eligibility rules. I'm concerned that either the government didn't adequately communicate the rules to fishermen in their union or has interpreted them in a way that is plainly unfair. We reached out to Employment and Social Development Canada for a statement, but did not hear back before airtime. The Unemployment Action Centre says they have filed reconsiderations to the government, but those have also been denied. The GACE hopes the government reverses their decision on the denial of the employment insurance benefits for the fishermen.
Be good on your promise. It's simple to do the right thing here. And, but stop dragging it out. It's an insult to our fishers and workers, and we're trying to help with it. I mean, we didn't create this chaos.
Leo Wilson, APTN National News, Prince Rupert.
There's growing concern from tenants in Yellowknife over who they rent from. They say the biggest landlord in the city doesn't address their grievances, and there's few options to move somewhere else. Our reporter Charlotte Mort-Jacobs explains the situation there.
So this is my bedroom window I'm talking about. This is what it looks like from the outside.
Verna Bolio has been waiting 5 years for her window to be repaired.
I don't know how they got it. I think they threw rocks or ice. There's 1, 2, 3.
She lives in Dorset Apartments, one of 32 residential properties in Yellowknife, owned by the real estate company Northview Canadian High Yield Residential Fund. Northview owns nearly half of the rental market in the city. After writing to everyone she can think of asking for help, she's turning to media.
I feel like I'm being ignored, and I feel that the more I complain, the more they ignore me, because it's becoming a burden to them and to me, complaining too much. And if it's too cold out...
Bolio's apartment is frigid.
I have to use my oven for heat. I put on my oven at night and I shut it off before I go to sleep. Just when I'm going to go to sleep, I shut it off, and I leave it on 4 to 6 to 8 hours, depending how cold it is.
At every turn, there's issues.
My bathroom door has really been roughed up. It's coming apart, as you can see. It's not even hanging on here. It warped here before, warped this way before. It's got nails on it to keep it closed. There's a patch up there, a stain from when it rained in my bathroom more than once. And it doesn't get hot. And this is getting cold now, like it's going down.
The Yellowknife Housing Authority subsidizes her rent and is responsible for voicing concerns to Northview. The local housing authority did not respond to APTN's request for an interview.
It was when I first moved in here in 2016. Someone tried to break in my place, climb in my window, and now it's broken. If you open it, it's going to fall out.
She also worries about her safety.
This was pushed in from somebody outside. I called them and asked them to fix it. They came in, they put this here and left that like that. Never came back.
Her story is one of many. Members of Yellowknife community groups on Facebook routinely express frustrations about renting from Northview. Rant, anyone else live in a Northview building and your heat not on yet? It's the middle of November and we are frozen. I've called 3 times now and nothing. So don't miss renting from them. They're even called slumlords now. Original owners of those buildings would be shocked and disgusted how their once well looked after buildings are now gone to the dumps. APTN speaks with a tenant who does not wish to be named in fear of backlash from her landlord, Northview. She's been here 2 years. She says her sprinkler system has never worked and her furnace had went without being serviced.
So hypothetically, if everybody in this 50-unit complex pays $2,200 a month, they're getting over $100,000 a month in just one area. They own pretty much everything in here, and you cannot simply tell me that they don't have enough money to create a budget dedicated purely to northern problems.
APTN reached out to Northview, who declined an interview. For Bolio, who is on permanent disability, she says she has no alternatives but to stay put. Charlotte Mort-Jacobs, APTN National News, Yellowknife.
We need to take a break, but coming up, Indigenous Services Canada gets awarded the best at withholding information. trophy. That is from the Canadian Association of Journalists. Here's a look at something else that we're working on for you too.
I'm Tamara Pimentel.
Even these big boys.
Keeping trap lines in the family.
Right now it's just my Musum and my dad, and then it would be me.
It's kind of a dying art.
Youth in Wabasca, Alberta spent a weekend learning the basics to become certified trappers in the eyes of the Alberta government.
And if someone wants to try to take it, well, they can't, because there's another generation that's going to come up and take over.
I'll have that story soon on APTN National News.
Voters in the far northern Saskatchewan constituency of Athabasca go to the polls in a provincial by-election in less than 2 weeks. They'll vote February 15th to fill the seat that was held for 26 years by the NDP's Buckley Belanger, who resigned last August to run in the federal election for the Liberals, a bid that he lost. Vying for this empty seat, former La Loche mayor and one-time New Democrat MP Georgina Jolliboy, Jim Lemeg for the Sask Party, Buffalo Party candidate Clint Arneson, and Darwin Roy is running as an independent. Because of COVID restrictions and challenging weather conditions, voting in advance polls is recommended. Chief Electoral Officer for Saskatchewan, Michael Boda, says polling stations will be looking for workers.
It's a great opportunity to give back to your community, but also we are able to pay individuals who are willing to work with us. And I would encourage you to contact our returning office in Beauval and put your name forward.
Well, Indigenous Services Canada has won the Code of Silence Award for the first time. This annual award is bestowed upon the institution that was best at withholding information from journalists. James Turk is the director of the Centre for Free Expression. He spoke with Dennis Ward yesterday.
James, great to have you with us.
Well, thank you. I appreciate the opportunity to talk with you.
Can you tell us a little bit about what is the Code of Silence Award?
Yes. A lot of us in the organizations that are sponsoring this award have had repeated difficulties with getting access to information under Canadian legislation, both federal and provincial. And so we thought we would like to make the public more aware of this, so we created an award called the Code of Silence Award for Outstanding Achievement in Government Secrecy. And we invite nominations from journalists and from the public as to the most secretive government agencies at the federal, provincial, municipal, and police service level in the country. And each year we have a jury from the 4 organizations that sponsor this that picks the most deserving recipient of this dubious award. The organizations are Centre for Free Expression at Ryerson University, the Canadian Association of Journalists, News Media Canada, which represents newspapers and media outlets from across the country, and Canadian Journalists for Free Expression. So our 4 organizations review all the nominees and each year pick the most secretive federal, provincial, municipal, and police service in the country. And this year's winner, we're announcing today.
So that said, how did Indigenous Services Canada earn its award this year?
Well, it earned it by being very difficult in responding to requests for information. In terms of the nominations, the most repetitive complaints were about their unwillingness to provide information about drinking water test results in First Nations across the country, as well as efforts to get access to contracts with private water companies. And Indigenous Services Canada wouldn't respond for long periods of time. Appeals were made to the Information and Privacy Commissioner. They didn't respond to the Information and Privacy Commissioner. They were very obstructive. In one case, when they finally did reply, there was a, let me just look at it right here. I think it was a 2,280-page document in which every page was completely redacted.
Unbelievable.
So there was just this consistent complaint. The Toronto Star ran a whole series on water tests on Indigenous lands and reserves across the country, and there was just great difficulty in getting the information from Indigenous Services Canada.
Now, is this an award that Ministers Patty Hajdu and Mark Miller will split amongst themselves, or? Well,
I don't know what they're going to do with it. Usually they try to bury the fact that they've gotten the award, but we're hoping by shining a spotlight on what they've done in the past may encourage them to do better in the future.
Yeah, James, how does the award draw attention to the problem of access to information in Canada?
Well, I think it draws attention precisely about what we're doing now, is talking about it, bringing it to the attention of the public. Most of the public don't know when journalists and researchers and activists try to get information that is public, should be public information, should be readily available, and how that can be obstructed and how weak our access to information legislation is in this country, so that government agencies that want to hide things, that don't want to share information, can largely obstruct the public getting access to a lot of information.
Well, James, congrats to all the nominees and the winners. Appreciate you taking some time here for us today.
Nice to talk with you, Dennis. Take care.
We reached out to ISC for comment, no word on their plans for an acceptance speech, but they did say in part that the government is committed to transparency and access to information. Well, we have to take another break, but here's a look at something else that we're working on for you.
I'm Sarah Connors, and behind me is a 10-foot tall block of snow that's being transformed into a work of art. Tomorrow we'll meet the 2 snow carvers working on this piece and the First Nations artist behind it. That's coming soon on APTN National News.
Welcome back. It's time now for our photo of the day. Richard Rubin shared this great shot exploring the countryside beach in Paulatuk, Northwest Territories. Beautiful shot, and thank you for sharing it, Richard. If you want to be our photo of the day, you can send your pictures to share@aptn.ca. You can include a location and a description, and then tune in to see if you're our next photo of the day. Let's take a look now at tomorrow's weather forecast. Starting off on the east coast, we got 2 and sunshine for St. John, 7 and showers for Halifax. Happy Valley Goose Bay, snow is expected there, -22 degrees. Sunshine for Kuujjuaq, -25. Set Hills, -17, and snow. Rouyn-Noranda and Val-d'Or, both -17 and sunshine. Sault Ste. Marie, sunny, -13. Ottawa, snow, -12. Lots of sunshine in northern Ontario. Kapuskasing, -19. So Lookout, -21. Puckatawagan, -24 and sunny. Same with you in Norway House. Cloud though for southern Manitoba, -22 for Barons River and for Winnipeg. -10 and snow for Swift Current. Sunshine for Saskatoon, -19. -24 and snow for L'Orange. Sunshine, -29 for Uranium City. You've got sunshine and -28 for Chipped, snow and -18 in Peace River. Snow for Red Deer, -17, same with Edmonton. 1 and sunny for Penticton. Tofino, 8 and showers. Prince Rupert, you are looking for cloud and 6 degrees, -24 and snow in Fort Nelson. Mayo, -27 and cloudy, -40. Clear skies for Rock River. Wrigley, -31 and clear. Wati, sunshine there, -30. Paulatuk, mix of sun and cloud, and 28 degrees. Colville Lake, -29 and sunny. -33 for Chesterfield, Baker Lake, and New Yacht. Sunny skies there. Pangertung, you're going to get some snow, -16. Arctic Bay, snow, -25. An Alberta First Nation and the federal government announced a major park expansion on Wednesday. The park is located in the northeast part of that province. An increase adds to what is already the largest protected area of boreal forest in the world. APTN's Fraser Needham has more.
An area roughly 3 times the size of the city of Winnipeg. That's how much the Kitiskino Nguyen Wildland Park was expanded on Wednesday. The $5.3 million announcement was made by Environment and Climate Change Canada and the Mikisew Cree First Nation. Chief Peter Powder had this to say.
Today we celebrate an important part of our lands, and waters now have a brighter future. And that means we are celebrating that an important part of our heritage has more protection today than it did only a few days ago. Today is important because we all get to tell our elders and land users that we're making progress on their vision.
Fraser Needham, APTN National News, Ottawa.
After 2 years, the NFL's Washington football team finally has a new name. It was announced today that they will now be known as the Washington Commanders. Contentious team names and mascots has been the forefront of the media coverage for much of 2020 after years of mounting pressure from Indigenous groups. Professional football teams in Edmonton and Washington decided to drop their offensive names. The Washington team was founded in 1932. It's their 90th season in the NFL. Well, they say knowledge is power, and when it comes to the child welfare system, knowledge is one of the only weapons that parents can wield when fighting a system that's eager to take their kids. Tamara Malcolm joined me on In Focus today. You might remember her as Twitter Mom. She fought the system and won her kids back. Well, she's now on TikTok, and she's helping others do the same.
I looked at TikTok. I seen a lot of other people doing videos, reaching a broad spectrum of different people out there that needed to hear a lot of things that needed to be said, and to teach other people avenues how to jump through hoops. I figured, well, why don't I create a TikTok that helps other families in directing them through things I went through, and giving them ideas where to start. For instance, when you're thrown in a loop when a child welfare agency comes to your doorstep, a lot of people don't know what to do at times. And what I find, since I've put out these videos, I'm getting other people that went through the same experiences, and they're also putting their input as well, which is an awesome thing that's going on through TikTok right now. I see with more stories being told, people are starting to open up their eyes to the thought. People believe that children should be taken for no reason, but that's not the case. There's a lot of cases where children are being taken for absolutely no reason. I'm actually dealing with a family right now where a mother's child was taken basically just on assumptions, and it was a baby. So basically what I'm seeing is happening with these babies now is instead of taking the babies from the hospital, they're waiting for the baby to go home, and then they're taking the baby.
Yeah.
They've just gotten a little clever at their game. I think a lot needs to be said when these things are happening out there.
Yeah.
Nothing's changed.
She has a $7 million lawsuit ongoing against the government of Manitoba for her family's ordeal that lasted 11 years. You can watch that entire In Focus episode on APTN News YouTube channel. It includes an interview with a residential school survivor who is calling for a National Braids Day and a moose harvester taken down at gunpoint by the RCMP. His harrowing ordeal is something to hear. Well, I'm Melissa Ridgen. I'm out of here for the night. You have a great night.